A global economic chokehold is tightening tonight as the Strait of Hormuz, the world's most vital oil artery, descends into a full-scale military theater. Following Iran's declaration of a total naval blockade, hundreds of tankers are stranded, sending global energy markets into a chaotic and dangerous tailspin. With Israel's Merkava divisions massing and U.S. President Donald Trump vowing to break the IRGC's grip through strategic force, we are witnessing history. From the missile batteries on the Iranian coast to the war rooms in Washington and Tel Aviv, the world stands on the brink. This is an all-out regional war with catastrophic global consequences. The international community watches as the maritime escalation reaches a critical breaking point. The U.S. Fifth Fleet has moved to DEFCON 2, the highest readiness level seen in decades. The world now watches as this maritime escalation nears a total collapse. The conflict officially ignited on February 28, 2026. The United States and Israel launched coordinated aerial strikes, neutralizing Iran's air defense facilities. Retaliation was immediate. Following the fatal strike on the tanker Skylight, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps formally announced the total closure of the strait. Naval hostilities expanded rapidly beyond the Gulf. On March 4th, a U.S. submarine reportedly sank the Iranian frigate Iris Dina, signaling a maritime war spilling into the Indian Ocean. Amidst the turmoil, Iran named Mojtaba Khamenei as the new supreme leader. This transition coincided with a significant hardening of the Islamic Republic's military posture. By mid-March, President Donald Trump confirmed strikes against military sites on Kharg Island. Crucially, the main oil export terminal was left intact as a strategic warning. Today, March 16th, Iran launched 5 missile salvos toward Israel. Pucholkin and sound-breaking. The military landscape has evolved into a high-stakes standoff, pitting Iran's asymmetric naval strategy against the overwhelming force of a United States-led international coalition. IRGC aerospace forces have activated mobile launch units for the Kheibar Shekan ballistic missiles, weapons with ranges exceeding 1,400 kilometers, now threatening all regional bases. Utilizing a thousand-boat doctrine, Iran deploys fast attack craft equipped with Nazar-1 missiles. These vessels use jagged coastlines as hidden strike points to harass larger coalition warships. Subsurface threats are rising. Intelligence suggests the deployment of Ghadir-class midget submarines, which utilize silent torpedo operations and mine-laying to pose a significant danger to transit. Operation Hormuz Freedom is now active. 2 carrier strike groups are utilizing the Aegis combat system to create a multi-layered defensive bubble against incoming drone swarms. On the northern front, the Israel Defense Forces have mobilized Merkava 4 main battle tanks. This massive deployment serves as a deterrent against Iran's regional armed proxies. Finally, U.S. and Israeli stealth aircraft have prioritized suppression of enemy air defenses, targeting S-300 batteries to gain total air superiority over the Gulf. As the global economy faces its most severe disruption in history, the world stands at the brink. The outcome of this maritime escalation will redefine the modern age. The international community is fractured as powers struggle to balance energy security against the risk of world war. Diplomatic corridors are experiencing a period of intense volatility. President Donald Trump has intensified pressure on allies, warning of consequences for those refusing to join the Hormuz coalition. However, Germany and others clarify this is not NATO's war. China has moved into a phase of active diplomatic pressure. Beijing is now conducting naval exercises alongside Russia and Iran to deter what they term a Western invasion. In a calculated move, Tehran has granted safe passage to neutral nations, effectively using the strait as a tool to reward friends while punishing its primary strategic adversaries. Intelligence assessments suggest 3 primary paths forward. Each scenario carries immense risk for both regional stability and the future of the global energy market. Scenario 1: Operation Hormuz Freedom. The United States leads a coalition in a high-intensity naval operation to clear a transit lane through a massive minesweeping campaign. Scenario 2: Escalation to ground intervention. The U.S. may seize Iranian coastal strips to neutralize launch sites, while Israel expands its offensive toward Lebanon's Litani River. Scenario 3: The Chinese peace plan. Beijing may mediate a ceasefire, trading an open strait for a freeze on strikes. However, President Trump remains resistant to any immediate deal. The next 72 hours are critical. As the world watches, the choice between a diplomatic off-ramp or a protracted war of attrition hangs in a very delicate balance. For now, the world waits. All eyes remain fixed on the narrow, volatile waters of the Persian Gulf, where the future of global stability hangs in the balance. The humanitarian dimension of the blockade is now reaching a critical state. Desalination plants across the Gulf are reporting severe fuel shortages as supply lines remain severed.
In the Silicon Valley and European tech hubs, the chip manufacturing industry warns of a total production halt if neon gas and rare earth shipments remain trapped behind the blockade. Strategic intelligence indicates that Iran has deployed the Fatah hypersonic missile to underground silos along the Zagros Mountains, capable of striking targets within minutes of launch.
To counter this, the U.S. Space Force has activated the Silent Barker satellite network, providing real-time tracking of mobile launchers and subsurface naval movements with unprecedented clarity.
In the eastern Mediterranean, a second Israeli naval task force has moved to protect the Leviathan gas platforms against potential drone strikes from Hezbollah and other regional proxies. Global cyber warfare has reached a zenith. Simultaneous attacks on power grids in Western Europe and Iranian command centers have forced a shift to analog backup systems.
The United Kingdom's Royal Navy has deployed the carrier HMS Prince of Wales to the region, joining the international effort to maintain the freedom of the high seas.
Internal pressures within Iran are mounting. Reports suggest scattered protests in major cities as the economic weight of the blockade begins to affect the general populace. President Trump has issued a final warning, stating that the window for a peaceful resolution is closing, and the coalition is prepared for a total kinetic opening of the strait. The geopolitical order is at a breaking point. As night falls over the Gulf, the world waits to see if the first light of morning brings peace or the fire of war.
Satellite reconnaissance has detected the movement of Iranian Zoljana mobile launchers into the hardened tunnels of the Dar Abbas underground missile complex.
In response, the Pentagon has authorized the deployment of Rapid Dragon palletized cruise missiles, capable of being launched from standard cargo aircraft to overwhelm coastal defenses.
The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has activated its Patriot and THAAD batteries along the eastern province, creating an integrated air defense umbrella over critical energy infrastructure.
Naval intelligence confirms that Iran has deployed smart influence mines in the narrowest sections of the strait, designed to target specific acoustic signatures of Western warships.
The Kremlin has issued a statement calling for an immediate de-escalation zone, while simultaneously moving its Mediterranean fleet toward the Suez Canal in a show of force. Emergency sessions of the European Council are currently debating the activation of the strategic oil reserve to mitigate the impact of $150 oil prices.
On the ground in Iraq, Kataib Hezbollah units are reportedly repositioning near coalition air bases, raising fears of a multi-front assault if the strait conflict escalates further.
Israel's Arrow 3 interceptors are now in a hot start configuration, as intelligence suggests Iran's Shahab 3 missiles are being fueled for potential long-range strikes.
Operation Hormuz Freedom Commanders have finalized the kinetic opening window. Stealth assets are already loitering in the dark, awaiting the final authorization from the White House. The fuse has been lit. In the silence of the Gulf, the world's military might is coiled and ready. This is the zero hour for global security. The first kinetic phase has commenced. At 0400 hours, coalition electronic warfare aircraft deployed high-powered microwave bursts to blind Iranian coastal surveillance sensors. Simultaneously, U.S. Navy Tomahawk missiles, launched from Virginia-class submarines, have impacted command and control nodes in Bandar-e-Jask, severing the IRGC's regional communications.
In the northern sector, Israeli F-35 Adir jets have successfully neutralized 3 mobile S-300 batteries attempting to lock onto incoming coalition strike packages. Iran's response has been a massive saturation launch of Mohajer-6 suicide drones, aimed at the coalition's Aegis-equipped destroyers guarding the entrance to the strait.
The Sea Whiz and Sea Sparrow defensive systems are now firing at maximum rate. The sky over the Gulf is illuminated by the continuous fire of interception. As the kinetic exchange intensifies, maritime insurance rates have vanished entirely, effectively ending all non-military commercial navigation in the Middle East for the foreseeable future.
If the IRGC activates its Ghadir midget submarines for a final suicide run, the environmental damage from ruptured tankers could be permanent.
President Trump is expected to address the nation within the hour. Sources suggest he will announce the formal establishment of a permanent coalition-controlled maritime security zone. The escalation has reached the point of no return. Military assets from 30 nations are now converging on the region as the global power structure shifts. The geopolitical map is being redrawn in the fires of the Gulf.